anti-cheat you.
Holy shit, Danny.
Hey everybody, welcome to the JIMPACT Zone, where I, James Gisanti, cover all things Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor, because it's a Thursday. So this was a fun night of wrestling. It always is on Thursday nights. I'm very interested and I'm loving the new wave of energy that's been put into Impact every Thursday now. Since, I don't want to say since Trinity's debut, but she's definitely been a new flavor for the Knockouts division, and Impact as a whole has felt different since Josh Alexander had to relinquish the title. You know, it's an open field now, and everybody is looking for their opportunity to climb the ladder. Ring of Honor, a little bit different. I don't know that Ring of Honor is necessarily treading water, but it definitely feels like they need to build to something, and whatever that is should build soon. Hey, you know it. How you been? Thank you for joining me here tonight. Always a pleasure to have you here. We're going to start off with Ring of Honor, where they started with an excellent singles match between Rey Fenix and Gringo Loco. I'm not too familiar with Loco, but he has been an excellent pickup for Ring of Honor. This was a nice high-flying match. Similar styles, but different, and Rey picked up the win, a much-needed win, as he's going into his tag team title match next week with his brother, Penta, against Claudio and Wheeler Yuta for the tag titles. They're defending because Rey lost to Claudio in AEW for that double Jeopardy match. But yeah, this was a fun match. Phoenix hit him with the rolling cutter for the win. It's really great to see the Lucha Bros having singles matches, or at the very least Phoenix having singles matches. I feel like I've been craving seeing these guys go one-on-one for a while now. So that was a nice little treat to start off Ring of Honor. Moving forward, we had a backstage segment with the Wingmen, Peter Avalon and Ryan Nemeth, who, guys, why does he walk so weird? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But they were mocking the Iron Savages backstage, and they wanted to prove that Ring of Honor is Wingmen country. Oh, poor pretty Peter. We then have an announcement from Ian Riccaboni that Shibata will defend his title against his protege, Alex Coughlin, in 2 weeks on ROH television. That's going to be fun, you know. Shibata is a treasure, and having him defend against one of his students is a nice touch. It's definitely highlighting these younger guys, and Shibata is Shibata. Very much looking forward to that title defense. We then had your wife's favorite wrestler, Willow Nightingale, take on Maddie Rankowski, which was a name and a half for me to say. Willow is just so over, and Ring of Honor is definitely where she's thriving right now. It's, you know, I've been complaining that she's not really getting wins in AEW, but here in Ring of Honor, she's being treated much, much better, and it's a weird dynamic. We've been over it several times. If you've been watching, you know how I feel about it. But regardless, this is the place where people are growing and honing their craft even more. We'll talk about that, especially as we get to the main event. But Willow getting the win with the power bomb on Rankowski. Yep, I got that again. I'm proud of myself. So yeah, it was a nice match. Good for Willow. She's building up more momentum, but I don't know where she goes from here if she's not challenging Athena for the title. But we've been there. Moving on, we have our tag team match where the Iron Savages took on the Wingmen. It was not Wingmen country. The Iron Savages getting a great win. I will say Nemeth did a great job of really feeling like a good tag team partner in this match. He knew where his spots were. He knew where to protect Peter. It was good tag team psychology. Doesn't matter, as Bronson tagged in and scored and hit an electric chair drop on both Wingmen for the pin. Nemeth, you might be Hollywood's favorite wrestler, but I don't think you could get a win in AEW or Ring of Honor, unfortunately. Moving on, we have another tag team match where JWoww's boyfriend, Zach Clayton, and Cole Carter were defeated by Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal. The Daniels-Sydal tag team has been good for both men. They're not going to be winning a lot of singles matches, so you might as well put them in a tag team as an experienced tag team, helping the younger teams come up. This was a good match for the four men, and it's in this day and age, it's still amazing to see Daniels hit the BME, best moonsault ever, not just a name, an actuality. Moving on, I had a really fun match that I really enjoyed. It was Lady Frost taking on Miranda Alizé. I've enjoyed both women's work in Ring of Honor so far. I knew Frost prior to her work in Impact, but Frost has definitely hit a new level here, and this match was a lot of fun. They are both looking for their spot in the women's division, and they really made the most of their time here. Frost getting the win over Alizé, and she hit two moves in a row where I was like, this could be the finish, and then it wasn't, and then she went on to another move, and it was great. She does get the win after going to the top rope and hitting a corkscrew moonsault. It was a fun match. If you're going to look at any match this week, go watch Lady Frost versus Miranda Alizé. We then had the Spanish Announce Project, and Helico and Serpentico taking on Cheeseburger and Eli Isam. Or Isam. Sorry, guys, I'm not entirely sure. I'm always a fan of Cheeseburger. I will always want to see him come out on Ring of Honor TV. I will always want him to do as much as possible. Oh, you kind of like Maddie? Yeah, no, Maddie's cool, man. Maddie's cool, you know it. I don't think there's anything to dislike about anyone in the women's division. But yeah, Cheeseburger is always a welcome sight in Ring of Honor TV. I hope Tony Khan has the balls to put him in AEW and put him on Dynamite very soon. But regardless, this match ended after some interference from Luther. Only time I'm going to do that. And Helico catching Cheeseburger with a leg vine submission and making him tap. And Helico has always been a great talent. He hasn't been highlighted in AEW for some time. He was part of the hybrid with Jack Evans. Evans left AEW a while ago, and Helico has sort of just been floating ever since. He's a good talent who just hasn't found his spot. If Ring of Honor is it, I'm all for it. I hope we get to see more wins from him, and I still don't know how I feel about SAP as a name. But moving on, we had a New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television title match where Zack Sabre Jr. took on AR Fox. These matches, you know, there are specific rules. They have 15-minute time limits. You know, you need to get the match done in 15-minute time limits. And Zack Sabre Jr. has gone on record saying if he can't win the match in about 15 minutes, even though it's a draw, he considers it a loss for himself. So it's been a real fun dynamic. It's been a real fun wrinkle. And I love these matches that have gimmicks that really add to the sports element of it. The winner of this match was going to go on to take on Jeff Cobb at Dominion, coming soon, June 4th. Nice back and forth match. AR Fox is hitting a new stride in his career. It's good to see him getting the recognition that he deserves. This was a nice match. At the 10-minute mark, AR Fox went to the top rope, but Sabre rolled him to the floor. Fox followed up with a big dive to the floor. Back in the ring, Sabre avoided a top rope move. I think it was a 450, and he caught Fox in a European clutch for a near fall. Sabre started going at Fox's legs, catching Fox with a napalm death submission, and he gets the win and his 7th successful title defense. Super into all the Zack Sabre Jr. appearances here in Ring of Honor. The more Zacky I can get in my life, the better. He's a good wrestler, just seems lost in limbo land. You know, you could say that again, man. I think we're still talking about Angelico with that comment. Absolutely true. Good wrestler, lost in limbo land. And that's the problem with having such a bloated roster the way Tony did with AEW. Didn't matter that there was Dynamite and Rampage. Just certain guys were going to get more love. I think Angelico definitely fits a lot better here in Ring of Honor than he did in AEW, at least for now. We'll see. Moving on, we then had Dasha in the ring interviewing Zack Sabre Jr. He said that he saw a chance to make history as the first New Japan the New Japan Pro Wrestling World TV Champion, and he took it. He declared himself the best champion in wrestling, oh boy, and most active TV champion in wrestling. That brings out the Ring of Honor TV champion, the king of television. Well, maybe the former. I'm not entirely sure. Samoa Joe comes out and he took offense to that. Joe offered a fight against Sabre right now, but Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels, remember what I was saying about the singles wins, made their way to the stage. Daniels stated that he, Joe, and Sabre have all held TV titles, but Sydal was overdue for one. Sabre offered up a tag team match with a TV title shot on the line if Sydal and Daniels won. Everyone seemed to agree. Sabre says afterwards that they'll figure out which champion is better. Zack Sabre Jr., I don't know how to put this to you guys. And I say this, pardon my French. Zack Sabre Jr. is an asshole. His character, at least. Samoa Joe, also an asshole. But the one thing that they're both better at than being assholes is professional wrestlers. I'm very much looking forward to these two Kings of Television Championship Wrestling to go at it. Sorry if Daniels and Sydal have to be sacrificed in the meantime, but it is worth it. So we will see how that goes, and very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out. We then had the Gates of Agony defeating Dalton Castle and one of his boys, Brandon. Guys, I'll be honest with you. You know I love Dalton Castle. I want more Dalton in my life all the time. He's amazing. And I love the boys. Who doesn't love the boys? This feud has been going on for far too long. Either Dalton and the boys need to reclaim the Ring of Honor six-man tag championships, or they need to leave them. They need to stay away, and Dalton needs to go on and do something else. The match ended when Leona and Khan hit a double facebuster on Brandon for the win. I feel like we've been here too many times. It's time to move on to something else. We then have Shane Taylor and the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake, taking on the Midnight Heat, Eddie Pearl and Ricky Gibson, and Shaft. This was a match. Not a lot happened here. It was quick. Taylor hits the package pile driver for the quick win, and, sometimes you just got to fill time. We then had Dasha backstage with Vincent and Dutch. Soon after, Stu Grayson entered the frame to wonder why they'd been watching him lately. Dutch and Vincent say that while the Dark Order brought him back, they were holding him back. The Dark Order came in to drive them away, but Grayson decided to give Vincent and Dutch one chance to impress him. I hate this. I want him with Evil Uno and Evil Uno only. No. I just got my Dark Order boys back together. No. Please no. Please no. Moving on, we had another women's match where Mercedes Martinez took on Ashley Dubois. Ashley has just become All Elite fairly recently, if I'm not mistaken. And Mercedes, we haven't really seen in a while. This was, it was a fun back and forth match. It didn't seem as one-sided as I've seen other people say. But Mercedes got the win, scoring the submission with a Dragon Sleeper. And I don't know if she's a heel again. I don't know if she's kind of a tweener. I don't know if she just leaned into Dubois being so over. But, this match happened. And lots of women wrestling tonight. And I love it. And, Ring of Honor never had a women's division before. But here we are kicking ass now. I'm all for it. And now on to the main event for Ring of Honor. We had a Fight Without Honor match. Basically, no rules. Action Andretti and Darius Martin finally taking on the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. This match had a lot. It had ladders. It had tables. It had garbage cans. It had blood. It had interference from Maria Kanellis Bennett. So many fun spots. So many good stuff. This was a battle. Everyone took a lot of offense. Everyone got hurt. Like I said, there was blood. This was a good match to watch. I know I was saying Lady Frost and Alizé was the match to watch this week. This one might be a good contender for that spot as well. Eventually, we had after lots of back and forth, high-flying moves out of the ring, off the ladders, off the ropes, tag team maneuvers. Andretti and Darius get the win, hitting a doomsday device off the ladder onto, I believe it was Bennett, and getting the win. After the match, the Kingdom offered a handshake, which they accepted. Very nice touch at the end there. Look, I've been critical of Action Andretti for a while now. I didn't think he was ready for the rub that he was getting in AEW. I wasn't hating on him. I didn't need to hate on him, at least. But just in general, I didn't think he was showing that he deserved the spot he was in. All that said, he's been progressing well here in Ring of Honor. There still were some spots that, didn't really flow all that well. And that's to say on both teams. I know when Bennett and Taven went for a jumping pile driver onto the chairs, Taven didn't really do much to help with that. He kind of missed his spot a little bit. That's going to happen. But regardless, Andretti is definitely showing growth, and I'll take it. That's what Ring of Honor seems to be being used for now, and that seems like it's benefiting everybody around. And Darius, very happy he's not getting lost in the shuffle now that his brother is on the injured list. So I think everybody wins with this main event. Go check it out. If you like fun, violent, bloody stuff, this was a good match. High-flying action across the board. Good match. Good on Darius, Andretti, and the Kingdom. And Maria. But moving on, we are now going to Impact, guys. The show started with X Division champion Trey Miguel taking on Laredo Kid for an X Division championship match. I believe this was for the title. I'm actually not entirely sure. This was a great opening match. Both guys, excellent high flyers. Laredo Kid, I wish he was getting more wins here in the United States. I get why he's not, but any company that's able to highlight him for whatever time that he's over is good to. It's good to see. This was a nice back and forth match that ended with Miguel grabbing Laredo Kid's mask and then rolling him up for the 1-2-3. I will never not get sick of the mask spot. It happens way too often, but Trey Miguel is a heel, and boy, did he act like it after the match, saying that he is sick and tired of not getting the respect he deserves. What respect that is, I'm not entirely sure, guys. But the reality is he's decided he was going to hold the show hostage until he got that respect. And boy, did he. Waiting until the end of the commercial break, he still was there until finally being confronted by Chris Sabin. Sabin points out all the incredible X Division champions that came before Trey Miguel. He mentioned, honestly, the list is so long, but if you could think of an excellent X Division champion, he said it. AJ Styles to Josh Alexander to Samoa Joe to Christopher Daniels, I think he said. So many guys he mentioned, and they were all true. Sabin then said that he himself is a former 3-time tag team champion, a former world champion, and a former 8-time X Division champion. And he plans on becoming a 9-time champion at Under Siege. I'm not going to lie, guys. He kind of punked the hell out of Trey Miguel. And Miguel just left. It wasn't a great look. I don't really know why they went with that angle, but they did. And I get it. Trey's meant to sort of be a punk right now. He's not supposed to really come across as a mature, respectful champion. But he didn't even try to take a shot on Sabin. He just looked defeated. So, as much as I want Sabin to become a 9-time champion, Trey needs to win. Otherwise, this is not a good look. Moving on, we had a backstage segment where Trinity was getting ready for her match later tonight when Jay Vidal comes up to her and says that Giselle Shaw is mad at her for the picture they took. Trinity says, I didn't take a picture, you took the picture. And if Giselle has a problem, I have an open contract for Under Siege. Vidal said that he would tell Shaw later because she's not here right now, but she would be cleared for next week. We then had a fun backstage interview, segment. It's like a retelling from Rich Swann and Sami Callihan where they talk about their history on the indies, how long they've been friends, and their history in Impact, and that they have unending respect for one another. And that relationship is why Swann is now defending Callihan from the design and the battle will continue. This was a nice spot. I love these kind of moments where you see these wrestlers and their history and how they develop together as a team, and just not necessarily a shoot, but like a lot of the backstage love that these guys can have for one another. We then had a singles match where Jason Hotch of the Good Hands, being backed by Brian Myers now, defeated one half of the Impact Tag Team Champions, Ace Austin. You guys know I love Ace Austin. You know I love Chris Bay. Never really happy when they take a loss, but this was necessary to serve the story. You know, the Good Hands are definitely building towards a tag team title shot under Brian Myers, and while I don't want Austin and Bay to lose the titles, it's becoming a possibility. They've been a great tag team champions. They've been doing the belts proud, and they've definitely helped elevate the tag team division in Impact. But it might be time to move on. And if they want to put some heat on the Good Hands, we'll see how that goes. There was some help in the end as Myers punched Austin and and helped Hotch roll him up. You know, Ace is still protected. It's fine. But very interested to see what their future is going to hold, as they're members of Bullet Club, but at the same time, not really doing much Bullet Club wise. He's a punk. He's getting his own show too. That was good. You know it. That was good. Moving on, we had a backstage segment with Steve Macklin, Shira, and Champagne Singh, where Macklin acknowledges the fact that they're back in his good graces. They just need to follow his orders. And this is going back to when they attacked Heath last week. We then had another backstage confrontation as Jordynne Grace was confronted by Alicia Edwards, who mocked her for losing last week. She then says that she doesn't buy this babyface bit that she's doing, and she's happy about what happened to Deonna Purrazzo last week. Grace scared her off with a fake punch, and we'll probably get a match eventually between the two, but it wasn't tonight. But speaking of the knockouts and having a match, we did get Trinity's in-ring debut for Impact Wrestling. She looked great. She hasn't lost a step. A lot of that offense is still there. King did a great job in elevating Trinity, making her look good. And this was not yes, a lot of her stuff was still there. The rear view was there. Her submission that she used in the past was still there. But this didn't really feel like a WWE match. And it was a little more hard-hitting, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm happy to see that Trinity is able to adapt. King has proved her worth since she's been signed to the company. And I'm hoping that this tag team reign for the Coven continues, because she's definitely going to get the reps in that she deserves. And if she could keep doing this with other people besides Trinity, great hire by Impact. Great hire by Impact, and I hope she's able to raise her stock. And Trinity looking like a star. The entrance is working. The crowd is super behind her. And she's showing she could win multiple ways, getting the win with a submission hold and that she calls Starstruck. Really cool. Really cool. And 1, 2, 3, that's how we get our submission win. And Trinity is moving on to a confrontation by Jay Vidal, who said that Giselle accepted her challenge, but he has a message for her. He tries slapping her, but Trinity captures the arm and then kicks him in the head. Hey, I'm all for it. I've never been against the men and the women going at it in Impact, and when you get a nice shot like this, and a talent like Jay Vidal, who can mingle in very well. Good handling, great showing for Trinity on her first night, and it's only up from here. We then had a follow-up to the Steve Macklin, Singh, and Shira segment where they find PCO backstage and they just beat the ever-leaving crap out of him, dropping him onto the cement floor and then putting concrete blocks on his back, where Macklin then took a sledgehammer and smashed the concrete blocks on his back and just shattering them, leaving PCO screaming in agony. It was an uncomfortable watch. It was hard to watch. It made me sad. didn't like what they did to PCO, but Macklin is definitely getting the heat that he deserves. He's been kind of underwhelming as champion so far. And granted, he won. We've been talking about it. He won the title under unfortunate circumstances because Josh Alexander had to forfeit the belt, but he didn't really hit the ground running from there either. Now it seems that he's finding who he is, and it's the viciousness is welcome from Macklin. Moving on, we had our backstage segment where Jessica, for weeks now, has been waiting for Rosemary to come back from the undead land. She's holding on to this hourglass. She's waiting for the time to pass when she is confronted by Taylor Wilde and Kylan King. They offer to open the door for her, but Jessica said that Rosemary said they're not powerful enough to do it. Wilde said that Rosemary isn't always right, and Jessica said, well, Wilde isn't always right. Otherwise, she would have known that Kylan would have lost her match tonight. They didn't like it. The segment was silly. I like Jessica, but I like her better when she's bouncing off of Taya Valkyrie, wherever she may be. I think that might be AEW, and Rosemary. This was fun. I'm loving the supernatural aspects of it, but I do hope that the story progresses a little bit quicker, and next week we get some resolution on Rosemary. We then had another knockouts match where Jody Threat defeated Sierra. Threat squashed her, hitting her with an F16, an F416. My bad, guys. And, good for Jody Threat. She's been really building herself up since she's debuted in Impact, getting a lot of quick wins. This tends to be how Impact has been handling their women for the most part. They did it with Masha. They did it with Killer Kelly. And now Jody Threat seems to be like the new kid on the block. So hopefully she's able to get some bigger matches moving forward, and she can really show off what she can do. But she's got a fun energy, and it's always nice to have another fun baby face in the division. We then had a backstage segment where Frankie Kazarian was confronted by Eddie Edwards. Edwards says that they better get along tonight if they're going to win, and that he better follow his lead. He knows that Kazarian sees himself as this backstage leader, this ring general, but there can be only one. Kaz says, don't worry, I won't have a problem following your lead. Let's just hope this works out better than Honor No More. Ouch, that was hurtful. Still not over that group being gone, but what can you do when Ring of Honor's back? We then had a backstage segment that, guys, broke my heart. Dango was backstage. Dirty Dango was backstage with Zicky Dice and Johnny Swinger. And Dango says after their match last week, he knows they are both too incompetent to have been the person to attack Santino. Out comes Joe Hendry, and Swinger and Dice accuse Hendry of being the assailant. Dango, who was a little perturbed that Hendry, in his eyes, stole his spotlight after the win last week, says maybe he's right. Maybe it is you. You're an egomaniac. They start to go back and forth, and Hendry rips Dango's shirt, and there it is. On his hairy, hairy chest is a missing patch of hair, the same size as the hair that was recovered from Santino's attack. This opens up the floodgates for Dango to blindside Joe Hendry, throw him into the wall, and say, case closed. I'm not okay with this. They shouldn't make him heel. I like him as a babyface, but maybe it was necessary to add an extra dimension to Dango's character and to give him a little bit more longevity. You can only really get so much done as a comedy act when you're by yourself and doing the same old thing over and over. But I did like that same old thing over and over. We then had our main event, a 6-man tag match between all 6 contenders that will be in the number 1 contenders match at Under Siege for the World Championship. This was a good match. It had a lot of action. It had a lot of story in it. It set a lot of the players into a better spot going into the main event, and clear stories for where I think a lot of these guys will go after the main event. Just to get the lead out of the way. So sorry. The match was between Moose, Frankie Kazarian, and Eddie Edwards as they took on Alex Shelley, Jonathan Gresham, and Yuya Uemura. the baby faces got the win, guys. Alex Shelley, Yuya, and Jonathan Gresham got the win. This match went back and forth. There was action, there was intensity, and it was fun seeing the dynamics. Gresham versus Moose, as he's just continuously trying to take the big man down, attacking the legs. Kazarian and Eddie Edwards not being able to stay on the same page, leading to their loss. We'll get to that in a second. Yuya has the one word I keep using for Yuya is explosive, and he keeps highlighting that week after week. It's weird to see this young kid in this main event spot, but he keeps earning it, and I'm proud of him. And Alex Shelley, who commentary keeps saying is the best wrestler who has never won the world title in Impact. And you know what? I'm starting to agree if I didn't already. And thankfully, he got the win. Alex Shelley capitalizing on the dissension between Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Edwards as they go back and forth until Kazarian eventually just clotheslines Eddie Edwards. They send Frankie out of the ring, and then Shelley hits the shell shocked on Edwards to get the 1-2-3. Man, I really hope he wins the number one contender spot. Even though I don't see him taking the title off Macklin, he will be a great challenger for Macklin. That's my prediction going forward for next week, seeing how that pay-per-view will go. But regardless, go check out this match. This and the Trinity match were the matches to watch on Impact this week. Good show, and I'm really glad with all the momentum Impact has been building. Nothing bad on this show. Great way to lead into the pay-per-view. And, what's this? You know it? Comedy kills sometimes, and sometimes comedy kills. Yeah, no, you're right, man. You're right. But Dango, he has a direct line to my funny bone. But yeah, this was Impact. This was Ring of Honor. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I hope you enjoyed me, because let me tell you, I enjoyed you. Next week will be the Under Siege pay-per-view. I will do my best to cover that. And then on Sunday, we have our AEW pay-per-view coverage for Double or Nothing. So a lot of good wrestling next week. Be ready. You guys know the drill. If you're following, please give this video a like. I appreciate it. I like you for it. Even if you don't like it, I still like you. It just hurts my heart a little bit. And more than anything, please give us a subscribe if you're not already following us. We love you. We want to hang out with you. We love talking wrestling with you. And as always, we have our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I don't know, MySpace, whatever. Oh, and we TikTok now. We're doing TikToks. Danny's killing it with the TikToks. But all right, guys, I'm your boy, James Gisanti. Thank you for watching the JIMPACT Zone. And please remember, watch Impact, watch Ring of Honor, enjoy wrestling. Good night, guys.